I think I started working out in transparency stuff in 1985 in Alaska, convinced that if somebody was able to look in the filing cabinets that showed where state legislators were getting their campaign money, we'd discover who was really paying for politics in Alaska. And to do that, I had to buy a new Apple Macintosh and a database version 1.0 of whatever was out in 1985, I don't even remember, and then start taking stuff that was in filing cabinets, government filing cabinets, putting it into a database, and then using that data to generate, and then researching the hell out of who are these guys, what's behind the name, is there an industry behind it, what does it all aggregate to for every member of the state legislature. And it took, I think I promised my editor at the newspaper that it would take 3 months and we'd have the answer. It took 9 months, but at the end of it, not only did we figure out who was paying for elections in Alaska, but it actually built an approach to trying to dissect buried gems in filing cabinets in government offices that nobody ever looks at. So that was really the thing that started this whole idea of the Open Secrets website. So I did a book. First thing I did was a book called Open Secrets that showed where the money comes from. And then, when the web came along, that was it. We actually used to publish a book called Open Secrets. It was 6.5 pounds. It had profiles, 2-page profile for every member of Congress, and it cost like almost $200. So the only people that read it were lobbyists, or academics. So we thought, please, something other than lugging around a 6.5 pound book. And then along came the internet. And so now there's a website called Open Secrets, and now, frankly, the latest thing I've been on is trying, the internet is great, but there's too much stuff on it. You need to carry something around like an iPhone or an iPod Touch, which is what I use, the amount of information, if I can have access to those government filing cabinets on a portable device, and I can start asking questions about things that I never thought I'd even ask questions about before, then serious transformation has taken place. I think forces are coming together right now. The Obama administration, SunlightFoundation, everything from Twitter to the iPhone to the amazing explosion of participation in government that we had from the last election, where people were getting money because they got involved in an election. I mean, the time is right, the place is right. This is the kind of crowd. I have no doubt at all that 2 years from now, you can come back and the people who are coming to this conference will have produced stuff that even they can't even visualize today. I mean, this is like an incubator. Well, there's a lot of challenges. I mean, you can't just take every piece of data the government has and throw it out there because no one's going to know what to do with it. You have to figure out how do you make it into something that people can actually do something with. That's what the people here are trying to figure out. That's one of the great things that I'm seeing here is a lot of government people trying to figure out how do we get our stuff out and how do we do it in a way that that the people who have been used to the old way will feel comfortable with and won't feel threatened by. Frankly, the situation that we have in tracking money in politics is a great example of how this can work. If the Center for Responsible Politics, OpenSecrets.org, takes information from the Federal Election Commission and then categorize it by industry. Well, the FEC would lose their budget. They can't categorize it. They can't look at a company and say, well, General Electric does these things and give it an industry code, but we can. So what government agencies can understand is if they can partner, if they can release their data and partner or let other groups run with it, those groups can do things that the agency itself is not even allowed to do by law. And and even though they release the data and it gives more competition they might feel, it actually enhances what they're trying to do, which is, if it's EPA, it's protect the country or give people information about what's going to hurt them in the environment near their home, for instance. It's just taking all that data that the government has and putting it in the hands of people who know how to play with things, give good graphics, and connect with the public at large. Look, I have been convinced, and I was a journalist before I got into nonprofits and research and stuff, but when the public has the information, they make intelligent decisions. It happens, and you can almost tell. I always look at an election whether the news media has done a good job of informing the public about what's going on, because if they haven't, really bad guys get elected, and that doesn't serve anybody, and even outside the issue of government. But there's an enormous amount of resources there's an awful lot of common sense out there in the world. People who have the right information make intelligent decisions. And so getting them the right information, the useful information at the right time, is and then trusting them to do something good with it. It works. It works. I mean, people really will make intelligent decisions. They're not going to abuse it. If you can think of all the scenarios of how can people abuse releasing this information, you can scare yourself half to death. It ain't going to happen. People really do intelligent things if they have the right information. But getting that information, people haven't been used to having this much information. And then again, there was something that came out earlier. Data is not necessarily knowledge. I'd like to make a slight change to that equation. Data plus context plus some kind of user input, even if it's entering your zip code, can most definitely give you knowledge. So a little tweak here and there can do it.